Hello and welcome, my name is Nidas. Welcome to this overview of this planet of mine. So this planet of mine is my relatively new streaming series that I'm running 2, sometimes 3 times a week, and each time is a session of 4 hours. And after, a number of streams, I think about 16 now, it actually has added up to quite a bit of progress, and I thought there might be time for me to do an update episode for the last 15 episodes. So we are going to start here, this whole concept of the series. This is also so that if you haven't caught up already, then take a look at this one, because this should catch you up as fast as I can possibly do it. So the map looks like this. We have here our little bit of area, and then let's see what it looks like after the first episode. Alright, here we are after the first episode. So already in the very first episode we did quite a bit of progress. We have the very first location. This was kind of the milestone I wanted to get, is just let me get my very first Factorio building. You can see already in the very first episode I was fortunate enough to get a number of kind supporters. Not anything in there, but it is built. What we can see here is it's just basically leeching at all directions, and they are just going random directions here. And I've now started this part so that I go around picking up from these chests and putting them in here, and then let's see if that works. But that's a beginning, a humble beginning. We've built it, but it's not really working yet, so also a bit of power as well. So let's see what it looks like after the second episode. We can just take a look at this part. So still we've chewed on a bit, but not really very much. Here we are at the end of the second episode, so you can see there's now a lot more structure to it. We have the very first one, which functions as a sorting mechanism. It doesn't take much, but it takes 4 lanes in, get 4 lanes out, and unfortunately only at one side. Well, actually it could go up to 2 sides. And we are then starting to see the biters. Thank you for this cue. Yeah, biters are starting to show up because it is a desert map. What we are doing here is I am starting to chew through, I'm starting to carve out this area. I am realizing that I have to go towards this oil here at some point, and then yeah, it's not easy. So trying to get some vantage point out here that we can get out. But we also have put our jumpstart base in, so things are progressing, and we even have the second level here. What's it called? What are they called? I don't even know what it's called now. Ammo, piercing rounds, of course. All right, so let's have a look at what the next it looks after the third episode. All right, so we are inside the building. We have started just branching out in this area where we get the coal, and biters are everywhere. They're starting to get everywhere tech-wise. We are researching bullet speed and just trying to see if we can survive. We have built this wonderful little location which will be constant for a very long time, generating us pretty much what you need to do. Power's going up. We are still having a number of different locations. We have some of it going into this sorting location and some of it going into the other sorting location. Biters are attacking pretty constantly. We at this point still do not have a single ammo belt, so we have multiple ammo belts, and that is one of the key shortages. Here we are at the end of the fourth episode. At this point we are really struggling. If you look at it, we're starting to square off the base into much nicer, have long equal lines here, and we're still reaching out here. We've now started building this perimeter down, but it is in extreme jeopardy because there's no protection at this point. The point of this is to get some big power poles so we can get all the way down here, but it's still out of reach. We're still having something down here, but it's just desperately trying to make landfall there. And the biters are expanding, encroaching closer and closer, and we are really stuck here. We have, if we look at the science we have, we only have red and green science, and we're getting fluid handling, so that to me tells me that we are at the end of our red and green science. Again, we still have this, so at this point what we have spent our time on is primarily squaring off the base and trying to get us into a somewhat safe location. We're at this point having long lines here, but still not all the way around. Now this is at the end of episode 5. Yes, 5. We're finally getting something in here. Let's have a look. We have made the first landfall down here and have gotten the first oil. Very small location, and everything on the way there has been smashed and destroyed by the biters. I do have, however, cleaned out a bit of space, so I can start putting some power poles down there and expanding it, but it is very much in trouble. At this point, we have the blue signs. Technically, we have the blue signs, but I don't think what we are researching is advanced oil processing, and after that, it is going towards military 3 and then the tank. That is absolutely what needs to be done. But we have the blue signs, which means we have red circuits, we have plastic, we have blue circuits, and we are going. It's slow, it's manual, but that's not a concern at this point. We're also blocking off this left-hand side because we're just not able to compensate, or not able to defend it properly. This is now at episode 6, and we are getting a much cleaner base. We now have the around the base. We are still getting massive attacks in. What we are doing here is just barely surviving. We are using all of the incoming materials. Basically, all of it is being consumed into building here. Piercing ammo, and that goes slowly out. It's just, at this point, it goes all the way around the base. But it, as you can see, it is empty pretty much everywhere. And I have had to block off these regions here because I'm simply not able to survive. We now have things coming into one location. Yeah, everything is now coming into one location, which can handle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 8 of them inbound, but I just don't have that yet. The concern here is that we are closer and closer to the tanks, but we're not there yet. This episode, we've simply been trying to defend ourselves and running supply runs down here to the oil. But the base is getting more and more into a nice little square. This is the most pressured time. The biters are here. This is the time when I stop the biter expansion, because at this point I realize that, alright, I'm going to be spending a lot of time clearing the biters, and they will just keep respawning, and that means a lot of clearing. But I need to face the challenge of the biters head on with the tanks. Now we're entering more of a happy phase, I would hope to say that. We have at this point tanks, we have cleared out biters all around us, we have disabled the expansion, so even though our pollution cloud is now no longer touching any biters, well, they might touch a few down here, it means that we are safe for this point. And that's something we really need, because I don't want to spend like every third episode just clearing out biters. And we can see that the oil here is slowly getting in. We're working to get our power closer and closer to this region. We are also getting these, and this is where the car juggling mania is starting. We're getting some robots, but not in any big way. This is primarily just to make sure. Yeah, we are building robots, but they are not out there anywhere yet. Yeah, okay, a few here, up there, just so robots are being built, roboports are being put down. We have a bit bigger location. No, this has not been changing much. What the focus has been on is utilizing the newfound blue signs and red circuits. I can't believe how many colors there are. And basically not really expand the base because I've been stopped because of the constant biter attacks. The focus is now, can we get to oil? Now after episode 8, this is what it looks like. We are starting to get more structure here. The base is, let's disable this again. It's starting to be nice and square. We have the location here. We've managed to get all the way down to our location, to our oil. We have oil is now produced with full electricity instead of just running on a few solar panels every day. And we are starting to sort of carve out here. We're also trying to clean out the whole way there so we can get something on belts. This is nice, and we are, at this point, we are starting to use this area to go down here, get a car, get back in, and they're going to be parked sort of locations. You can see here 3 cars are parked, and we have not realized how much is going to come in through the car. And we also have another one here, so, and another one there. So we realize that there's there, but it's not really in a structured way. The base in itself is just going to slowly push out. Still a very straightforward way of doing it. It's simply doing this where it pushes out 4 tiles. And you can see things are working, but not particularly fast. We are still using predominantly yellow circuits and only reds. Oh, sorry, red. Ah, god damn it. Yellow belts, but we're starting to use the red one, which makes no sense in this context here. The belt is all the way around, and it is now saturated. So yes, that is good. We are now focusing on base building instead of just surviving. At the end of episode 9, this is what the base looks like. We have now created a much nicer organization. Over here we have 2 sorting mechanisms coming in. They merge belts together, and that will enable us to scale up quite dramatically on the inbound. Now at this point we can actually have, theoretically we can have, what is that, 16 belts in, but that's quite hypothetical because I can only get 4 of each type of product out. So usually it will be a lot less in actual fact. Now we've also built many more facilities, and they are scaled up quite a lot. And here we also have the overlay, so we can now see what's inside. And here they are. Let's have a look. We have started to build the corridor down here, and we're expanding the corridor, but we are not really at a position yet where we can simply get the undergrounds all the way through. But I am starting the realization that cars will be a major part of it. We've built our car juggling facility, the car park that just park the cars, throw them in there, and they will feed. This is a major improvement to the way of working, and it's quite a silly way, but it works extremely well. Now we're at the end of episode 10. And structure has been expanded quite a lot. We now have really structured ways of working here. We have massive coming in. It's still not saturated belts for sure, but it is, since things are coming in on yellow belts and going out on red belts. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 belts are actually coming in, and it looks absolutely wonderful. Things are scaling up. The base is pretty much a square at this point. That's what we are working on. We have all of this going down here. We don't have it all the way yet. I could theoretically at this point start belting it in, but it's not really a concern as long as I place it in a car. Then getting one of these cars in and out is not really a big deal. But you can see here, slowly, surely we're expanding down here, and there's not much left, and soon we'll have the corridor all the way down here. Yes, thank you, autosave. Still juggling the cars. This area has been cleared out. What else is there to say? We are going in here, getting the cars parked, and simply swapping them in and out once in a while. This is the lake. It's been cut somewhat to make room to get all the way around, and that's basically now the base is starting to scale. Actually starting the main boss here, although it is getting in conflict with the lake. And now episode 11. At the end of this, the bus has been extended, power has been moved up top. We're now getting a bit more structure in place here with how they are working. Wow, I can't believe this one is so much online, but that's because this is a legacy one. We are no longer having our car juggling location, and the reason for that is we've stored all the cars down here, and now everything is coming in on belts. You can see here that the belts are looking really good. Here we now have a massive location that's freed up, completely freed up. Just a bit of the corner needs to be rounded off, and by rounding off I mean squared off. And now there's cars everywhere that are idle, still not starting to harvest any of the sulfuric acid, but you can see stuff is working. It is now a matter of expanding. Everything is just square here. This part is going to be the next part to go in, and we now have a solid line down to the oil facility. Great. Here we are at the end of episode 12. We are researching nuclear power, though that is not going to be used anytime soon. It is just something that is really nice to have. Let's have a look at this facility. So we are now starting to modularize all of the miners wherever possible. At least we're starting with modularizing the iron miners just to get more iron, because iron is, not surprising, really what keeps us afloat here. If we look at just everything, and here we have the new sorting mechanism. This is what I'm also currently using, and I really like it. At some point I won't be able to keep up the red ones, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But it means an extremely tight packing, and we can get lots of red belts operational. This is much closer than this one, than this old setup. And we're now getting multiple red lanes in, and the bottleneck, we can start seeing the bottleneck being on the output and not on the input. Basically the sorting will not be able to keep up soon enough. But everything is operational, and we're basically scaling out the base at this point. It's looking very nice. Here we are at the episode 13, end of episode 13, and we are now seeing, as what I've hinted about, it turns out to be the output that cannot keep up. Now each of these facilities can only take 2 red belts out, and with all the mass that's coming in, I am constrained because I'm getting more iron in than I can actually sort through. It's not that big of a concern, because if I look at it, then everything out here is being consumed. But generally, it might be a bit of it's going to be a bottleneck for the continued growth. If we look at the base in itself, we have a full setup here. What we've also started at the behest of the viewers is starting to make a branch out here, focusing on claiming it and then scaling out to the sides, so we can just continue to scale up. But look at this, we're getting lots and lots of materials in here. We see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can almost call it 6 full lanes coming in from our, I don't know, southeastern expansion here. The base is nice and square, working on squaring off the corners. But aside from this, pretty much as it is, we are still consuming everything we get in, and that's primarily the blue circuits, blue science, that consumes most of it. Also have now a dedicated plastic and battery facility and an upgraded and Mark II oil facility. Pretty damn awesome. So that's the first Mark II facility we have in operation. Well, no, we also have one here to handle all the gears. This is pretty crazy how much gears is being consumed. Here we are at episode 14. We are now transforming the next part. We have torn up everything in here and built a new and much better sorting facility. You can see how much spaghetti there's inside. Lots of inside spaghetti. Also lots of outside spaghetti. But it is very well functioning here. It goes in. Everything will now be sorted into one of these locations, which can take only 6 red lanes, but it can then produce all of it outbound again. So we now have the capability for sorting 12 red belts inbound. You can see at this point I don't really have a lot, and the whole base is now converted, not this side, but where we are expanding is converted to this new way of working. Still not looking at the uranium mining yet, but that is coming. This part here is being expanded as well, so that we can start getting in this area. This is now being very much nicer. And we are starting again to see biters are encroaching. We have laser turrets, so things are looking fine in this world. Here we are at episode 15. You can see the buses are flowing. Lots of material coming in, both south and north, to some extent at least. Lots of materials are out. Everything is just flowing. This is very nice. And the part we are now focusing on will be the update of the bus. But really, the base is functioning very well. We're starting to see other bottlenecks than the actual inbound. This is scaling and is also going to continue to scale for quite a while. But the next part, now we're seeing that, for example, green circuits just does not scale. And that's going to be some of the issues we have to address. On the outside base here, you can see this is really just cleaning out, becoming a nice big swath of land that's now ours. We have started harvesting or started mining the uranium, not that we're using very much, but it is coming in. Everything is now defended by laser turrets, and we do not have any more of the piercing the ammo anywhere at all. We are also upgrading the power to Mark II power, so that's also quite a step forward. And that's basically where we are at the end of this summary episode. So I hope that you were brought up to speed, sort of the short history of where we are. I'll be streaming Mondays and Thursdays regularly, and sometimes also on Saturdays when time allows it. So be sure to drop by one of these streams. It's really awesome. We're having a ton of fun, and we are really building upon each other's ideas. And this is not just my ideas on how to solve these problems. It's basically half of it my bad ideas, and the other one is half of it is my bad ideas that have been improved by chat, and the other half is bad ideas from chat that I improve on. So that's kind of how we roll. Okay, maybe that's some good ideas as well. But be sure to join. Now you're updated, and I'll be doing another update at, I would guess, around episode 30. So be sure to also check that out if we are that far progressed. Thank you, and see you in the live stream. Bye.